You are standing in the bathroom, staring at your heels, and it is the same frustrating story every single morning. You have scrubbed them until your arms are tired. You have filed them down with a pumice stone until the skin is raw. You have slathered on gallons of expensive moisturizers, sleep with socks on, and tried every miracle balm from the drugstore. Yet, within 24 hours, those deep, jagged, painful cracks return, looking exactly the same as they did before. It is maddening. But I am here to tell you that your pumice stone is useless, and your lotion is a lie. Why? Because the problem is not on your skin. The problem is a flashing red check engine light screaming from your thyroid and your pancreas. We need to completely fundamentally shift the way you look at your feet right now. This is not a cosmetic issue. This is not about getting ready for sandal season, and it certainly isn't just dry skin caused by the weather or walking barefoot. This is a warning sign of systemic metabolic collapse. Your heels are acting as the canary in the coal mine for your entire nervous system. Think about the biology here. The nerves in your feet are the longest nerves in your body. They have to travel the furthest distance from your heart and your brain to deliver signals. Because they are the furthest away, they are the first to suffer when the supply lines get cut. If the nerves in your feet are starting to wither and die, which is exactly what causes that cracking, it means the damage is already well underway deep inside your visceral organs. And here is the terrifying part that nobody talks about. If the peripheral nerves in your feet are dying, the autonomic nerves are next. These are the nerves that regulate your digestion, your stress response, and most importantly, your heart rate variability. Ignoring cracked heels doesn't just mean you have ugly feet, it implies a significantly raised mortality risk down the road because your body is slowly losing the ability to regulate its own heartbeat and internal rhythm. You are seeing the damage on the outside, but you are missing the catastrophe happening on the inside. I want you to pause and look for what I call the metabolic twin symptom. This is the smoking gun. Ask yourself, do I have these dry, cracked heels, and do I also experience a massive, crashing energy slump right around 3 p.m. every afternoon? You know the feeling, where you can barely keep your eyes open and you need coffee or sugar just to function. That is not a coincidence. That energy crash is your brain crying out for fuel because it can't process energy efficiently. Simultaneously, your heels are crying out for moisture because the nerves are dying. Both of these distinct screams for help are being caused by the exact same blockage, insulin resistance. Your body is trying to tell you that the fuel lines are cut. We need to stop treating the symptom with a $5 cream and start fixing the engine. Because right now, your metabolism is stalling, and your feet are just the first things to crack under the pressure. To fix this, we need to peel back the layers of your biology and decode a mechanism that sounds complex but is actually very simple to understand. It is called Sudomotor dysfunction. Now, stick with me, because understanding this specific switch in your nervous system is the key to fixing your feet forever. Most people, and frankly, many doctors, think that the only reason your feet sweat is to cool you down, like a radiator in a car. That is completely wrong. Evolution designed the soles of your feet to sweat for a totally different reason: hydration. Your feet are under immense pressure all day long. Every time you take a step, you are crushing the skin against the ground. To prevent that skin from snapping or tearing, your body has a built-in hydration system. It uses sweat to keep the skin slightly moist, pliable, and rubbery. Think of it like a rubber band. When a rubber band is new and moist, you can stretch it endlessly. When it dries out and gets old, you pull it once and snap, it breaks. Here is exactly what is happening inside your body to cause that snap. When you have chronically high blood sugar or insulin resistance, even if you aren't a full-blown diabetic yet, your body struggles to process glucose. It starts looking for alternative ways to get rid of that excess sugar. It pushes it down a chemical pathway called the polyol pathway. This is where the villain enters the story. Your body converts that glucose into a sugar alcohol called sorbitol. Sorbitol is a neurotoxin. It accumulates inside the delicate nerve fibers. specifically the tiny C fibers that control those hydration sweat glands. It swells inside the nerve until the nerve literally suffocates and dies. When those nerves die back, the internal hydration switch is flipped to off. The signal is cut. The result is that your skin stops producing moisture from the inside. It starts producing brittle, dry keratin that acts like dead wood. I want you to visualize this so you never ever forget it. Imagine that your sweat glands are underground springs that feed a riverbed. That riverbed is your skin. In a healthy body, the springs are active, the water flows, and the riverbed is muddy, soft, and flexible. You can step on it, mold it, and it moves. But insulin resistance acts like a massive concrete dam built upstream. It blocks the flow completely. The nerve signals stop. Now, watch what happens to that riverbed in your mind's eye. The sun beats down. The water evaporates. The mud turns into hard, gray, dusty earth. As it dries, it naturally contracts and pulls apart. Deep, jagged cracks appear in the surface. Now, imagine walking on that dried earth. It doesn't stretch, it shatters. That is exactly what is happening to your heel. And here is the kicker. You can stand over that dry riverbed with a watering can, which is your lotion, and pour water on the surface all day long. It might look wet for 5 minutes, but deep down the earth is still dry because the underground springs are dead. You cannot fix a dry riverbed by watering the surface. You have to destroy the dam upstream. But there is a second, even more hidden layer to this problem. It is called the arteriovenous shunting paradox. This is the one that confuses everyone. You might be sitting there thinking, but my feet feel warm. If my nerves were dying or I had bad circulation, wouldn't my feet be cold and blue? Is the trick your body plays on you. In a healthy foot, blood flows down the arteries and enters tiny microscopic nets called capillaries. These capillaries are what actually feed the skin cells. They deliver oxygen and nutrients to the front door of every cell. But in a damaged foot, caused by that same insulin resistance, the valves that regulate this flow break open permanently. The blood takes the path of least resistance. Instead of squeezing into those tiny capillary nets to feed the skin, it bypasses them entirely. It rushes directly from your arteries into your veins and shoots back up the leg. We call this a shunt. Picture a major highway. That's your artery, connected to a small residential neighborhood. That's your skin. Suddenly, a massive bypass tunnel opens up right before the exit ramp. All the cars, which represent the blood, the oxygen, the nutrients, speed through that tunnel at 80 miles per hour. The highway looks busy. There is a lot of traffic, but the neighborhood streets, they are empty. The houses, your skin cells, are starving, decaying, and crumbling because no delivery trucks are stopping there anymore. This is why your foot feels warm to the touch, because the highway is full of hot blood, but the skin is dying of starvation. The blood is there, but it is moving too fast to feed the tissue. So, when the beauty industry sells you a urea cream or a foot peel, they are selling you a way to glue the neighborhood houses back together. It is a temporary bandage on a crumbling building. The metabolic approach we are taking today is about repairing the supply lines, regenerating the nerves, and closing the bypass tunnel so your body can actually hydrate and feed itself from the inside out. So, how do we fix this? How do we turn that dry, cracked riverbed back into soft, healthy skin? The guiding principle is simple, but it requires a total shift in your mindset. We must treat your skin from the inside out. We have to bypass the metabolic blockades in your liver and thyroid to deliver raw materials directly to the skin where they are desperately needed. We aren't just patching the wall, we are fixing the foundation. Here is your precise 3-step blueprint to make that happen. First, we are going to implement what I call the bypass strategy. I need you to eat 3 ounces of beef liver or take a high-quality cod liver oil supplement once a week. Now, stay with me. I know liver might not be what you wanted to hear, but let me explain the biochemistry of why this is absolutely non-negotiable. You have probably been told that vegetables like carrots and sweet potatoes are great for your skin because they contain vitamin A. That is a half-truth. They contain beta-carotene, which is a precursor to vitamin A. Think of beta-carotene like raw lumber. To get the finished piece of furniture, which is retinol, the active form of vitamin A that actually heals your skin, your body has to take that raw lumber to a factory and process it. That factory is your liver, and the workers are an enzyme called BCMO1. Here is the problem. If you have a sluggish thyroid, or if you have high insulin, that factory goes on strike. The BCMO1 enzyme stops working. You can eat 5 pounds of carrots a day, and you will turn orange, but your skin will stay cracked because you cannot convert the raw material into the medicine your skin needs. By eating beef liver or taking cod liver oil, you are ingesting preformed retinol. You are completely bypassing the broken factory and handing your skin the finished furniture. You are forcing the repair signal directly into the skin cells, regardless of how your thyroid is performing. Second, we need to manually override the blood flow problem with the circulation protocol. I need you to walk for just 10 minutes immediately after every single meal. This is critical. We are not doing this for calorie burning or weight loss. We are doing this for hydraulics. Remember that bypass tunnel we talked about? The shunting that steals blood from your skin? When you sit still, that shunt stays open. But when you walk, you engage what physiologists call the calf muscle pump. Your calf is essentially a second heart. Every time you take a step, that muscle contracts and physically squeezes the deep veins in your legs. This pressure forces blood to flow through those stagnant vessels and mechanically overcomes the shunting effect. You are manually pumping nutrients back into the neighborhood that has been cut off. You are using gravity and mechanics to do what your nerves are currently too weak to do on their own. Third, and perhaps most importantly, is the insulin reset. You must stop snacking between meals. This is the hardest rule for people to follow, but it is the most important for nerve regeneration. Every single time you put food in your mouth, even if it's healthy like a handful of almonds or an apple, you spike insulin. And remember, insulin is the villain that creates the dam. Think of the lining of your blood vessels like a skinned knee. If you pick at the scab every 2 hours, it will never, ever heal. It will just stay raw and inflamed. Snacking is picking the scab. You have to let your insulin drop back to its absolute baseline to allow the endothelial lining, the inner wall of your blood vessels, to heal. If you are constantly grazing, you are keeping your body in a state of defense and repair becomes impossible. Eat your meal, then close the kitchen. Give your nerves the silence they need to regrow. Now, I know we want relief right now while the internal work is happening. The cracks hurt, and they snag on your sheets. So, here is the only tool I recommend for the outside. Use a 40% urea cream. Unlike standard lotions that just sit on top like grease, urea is a keratolytic agent. That means it chemically dissolves the protein bonds holding the dead callus together. It removes the dead wood without the trauma of scrubbing or filing, which actually just makes the skin grow back thicker. Use the urea to manage the surface, while the liver, the walking, and the fasting repair the foundation. Before we wrap up, I need to bust one massive myth that creates so much unnecessary guilt and confusion for people suffering from dry skin. You will hear people, your friends, magazines, even some nutritionists say, "Oh, your skin is dry, you just need to drink more water." That is false. It is biologically inaccurate. You can drink 5 gallons of water a day, carry a jug around with you everywhere you go, and pee every 20 minutes. But if you lack the fatty acids, the lipids, and the nerve signals required to actually hold that water inside the cell, you are just a bucket with a hole in it. True hydration is not about intake, it is about retention. Think of your skin cells like water balloons. If the rubber of the balloon is weak and porous, it doesn't matter how much water you pour into it, it will leak out faster than you can fill it. The rubber of your cells is made of healthy fats and is maintained by thyroid hormones. If you are drinking water but eating a low-fat diet, or if your insulin is high, you are pouring water into a sieve. So please, stop forcing yourself to drink water until you feel sick. Fix the cell membrane with the beef liver and the healthy fats we discussed, and the water you drink will actually stay where it belongs. I also have a critical life-saving medical warning for you regarding circulation. In the world of metabolic health, you will often hear people recommending high doses of niacin or vitamin B3 to force that flush and improve blood flow to the extremities. It is a common hack. However, if you are currently taking statins for high cholesterol, do not start high-dose niacin without explicitly consulting your doctor. Here is why. The combination of statins and high-dose niacin can cause a severe, dangerous condition called rhabdomyolysis. This is where your muscle tissue literally breaks down, releasing a protein called myoglobin into your bloodstream that can clog and shut down your kidneys. It is rare, but it is real. We are here to heal your body, not stress it further. Please, be safe, check your medications, and treat your biology with respect. Ultimately, I want you to walk away from this video with a profound shift in perspective. You are not a victim of bad skin genes. You are not just getting older and falling apart. And you are certainly not lazy just because you haven't scrubbed your feet enough. Your body is simply communicating with you. It is speaking the only language it knows: symptoms. Those cracks in your heels are a message, a loud, painful message, that the supply lines are cut, the dam is up. But the good news is that you are the architect of your own biology. Today you learned exactly how to dismantle that dam, how to repair the electrical wiring of your nerves, and how to let the water flow again. So, here is your challenge for tonight. I call it the sunset rule. It is simple, free, and powerful. Stop eating the moment the sun goes down. Why? Because your body cannot repair nerves and digest food at the same time. When the sun goes down, your body releases melatonin to heal your brain and your nerves. But if you eat, you release insulin. Insulin and melatonin are enemies. They cannot exist in the room at the same time. If insulin is high at night, melatonin is suppressed and your nerve repair is canceled. Align your eating with the sun. Protect your nerves when they are at their most vulnerable. And finally, I want to see exactly where we are starting. I want you to take off your socks and check your heels right now. Rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 on the crack scale, 1 being smooth baby skin, 10 being painful, bleeding fissures. Start this protocol today: the liver, the walking, the no snacking, and I want you to come back to this video in 30 days and comment your new number. Let's start the healing thread below. You have the blueprint, now go fix the engine.